What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. This is Tomorrow Never Comes. And in today's video, I actually wanted to share a little about me. And maybe that applies to where you are on your path, and or maybe you're looking to transition or thinking about transitioning from what you currently do to the crypto space. And so my story is I spent over 15 years, just over 15 years as a chiropractor and as an acupuncturist. So I had dual licenses, and it was an absolute treat to take care of patients and help them from quality of life next to nothing to getting back to doing the things that they love. Not all the time, but trying to get them as best as I could with myself and those who would also help and be a part of that, the whole medical personnel in charge of that patient's treatment. And so, look, a lot of things learned, a lot of things enjoyable. I think one of the things that most people don't realize or don't really clue into or don't think that this would be the case is that regardless of this being a profession or any profession that helps and treats other people in need, at some points, it becomes a job. And maybe you don't want to hear that. But that's like with anything that you do. So anywhere that you, for the most part, right? Unless it is something of your own and something that you truly want to carry forward. Now, I was super passionate about the patients, not so passionate about the things that came around it in terms of the paperwork and the insurance, but all that aside, right? It doesn't even matter about that. What made me transition into the crypto space? Well, I've always wanted to be doing something that was scalable, that was meaning I could help as many people as possible. And while I've done that over the years with many individuals, the problem is it's one-on-one or one to few, right? It's very difficult to treat multiple people with the quality of service. That's just the nature of it. And you guys will see that anywhere you go where it's super busy, whether it's in your, a medical doctor, even the optometrist, anywhere you go, dentist, where it's just like an assembly line, right? It's just a machine. You're not going to get that level of service. You just won't, right? You might, technically you might get the service that is required, but the experience is going to be either mediocre or terrible. That's just the way that it works. So I've always been looking for something to scale. I've always been, just through patients, it's enjoyable to teach others, how to take care of themselves. And in the process, I learn, right? Certain things that I never expected to happen were happening throughout the course of my career. And so, things, you can't read things in a textbook. You can't read things in an article and all of a sudden that's what applies to every situation. So it's always good learning, different dynamics, different personalities. So I wanted to transition into something, and that was what it was, something. And I was just looking for something, and it was always in the back of my mind, where else could I go? I love what I'm doing, but this is not going to be the end-all be-all going forward. And so as I started to become familiar with crypto, it was a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer because I can help spread a message that once you dive in a little bit, you'll see the value in it. And that message, I can use platforms like YouTube or anything else where physically doesn't require you to do much except get on some articles or, do some transactions. But it's nothing crazy. It's nothing you can't understand. And that's really the point of all this, is that I want to show everyone that this space is not a space for techies, nerds, developers, people who are heavy into the weeds of the technology of crypto. And let's be real, this is a technology shift. Okay, this is an invention like fire, electricity, steam, a combustion engine, all those things. That's what this is in parallel with, even the internet. But the point is that even if you don't know the nitty gritty, and I don't profess to know all of the nitty gritty, that's not where my interest lies. It's what can you do with that information? What does this technology allow you to do? And that's where I'm at, right? People in the science field at least as I was going through it, we were in science because, one, we were passionate about it, but also because we did not want to deal with business related things or financial related things, or both, right? Now, there are definitely some outliers, maybe even quite a few outliers, who can do all those things. They love the treatment aspect of it, but they also love the business and the financial aspect. Typically, it's usually one or the other. You either like the business side of things and not so much the treatment side, or vice versa. So it's one of those things that, look, I hated business. I did not like finances. I didn't think I had the capabilities of understanding it, or, I would label it as boring, but really it fell under, I didn't think I was capable of handling it or understanding it where I could grow the finances. This is my lane. I'm going to stay in this lane and not move over. But that's all nonsense, because there is nobody who's going to take care of your finances better than you. Now, you may get to a certain point when you have, 8-9 figures, maybe more, and you need help with it. Fine. That's great, right? But getting to that point, you need to take control of it. I don't care who it is. Your accountant who you've known for 10, 15 years, lawyers involved who you've known for 20 years. Nobody cares about your money like you. And there are some great financial advisors, but by and large, they want their bonus. They want to get paid. It's a job to them. And that kind of goes back to what I said, that at some point or in certain moments throughout your career, your job is just a job. So those who are handling your money, it's just a job to them. They want to get paid. They want to go on their vacation. They may have, 100 clients, 50 clients, 10 clients. You're not the only person. So your best interest is not on their mind 24/7 or at all. Okay, they got products they want to push on you, all those things. This is not a knock on them as a whole. There are always bad actors in every industry, and there's always good actors. So, I just got to a point where it was time to take control, and for good or for bad, for profit or loss, I wanted the responsibility. I needed to learn about it. What is going to help my family in the long run is having some bumps and bruises along the way, and I learned what to do, what not to do. And that learning is continuous. It just continues. It's a day-to-day thing. But crypto, so that was my gateway, was coming into the stocks and investments, of traditional investments, and then kind of opened my eyes to things. And then as I got into crypto, I saw even more of a value there. I am 100% responsible. If I keep things in my cold wallet or my hot wallets or wherever it is, but especially the cold wallet, I am fully and solely responsible for where those assets go, how they move, when they move, and I don't have to ask anybody or tell them why. That really drew me to this entire industry. It's sensorless, it's borderless, permissionless, and I'm talking mainly about crypto, right? But everything else also falls into place. If you want a quick gain, you can do that. If you want to play the long term, you can do that, and you don't need a massive amount of capital, like money, dry powder on the sidelines for that to happen. $100, $1,000, whatever it is you can do, you can still make those gains. You can still make those investments. That is not the case in the stock market, right? If you want to buy one Tesla share, which is probably around $500, you have to have $500 for that to happen. I won't get into the options or any of that, but just traditionally, right? Just very simple. But here, if I have $100 and I want to buy Bitcoin, I can buy $100 of Bitcoin. And that will appreciate. It's been the best asset over the last 10 years. So all these things, that's what I'm trying to do. And I don't ever take lightly when I say I transition fully into crypto. I don't put that on anybody else to do that. Don't make a quick jump. All right. And I wean myself. It sounds kind of like a drug. I progressed slowly, gradually came into this space. I reduced the workload. And then kind of had some targets set, and then I said, okay, this is when I'm going to kind of jump into it full time. And I advise everyone to do that. Have a plan. Doesn't mean the plan can't change, but just a quick knee-jerk kind of movement usually lands in a lot of regret, or you jump back into what's comfortable. Because I'll be real, like coming into this space, you feel like an absolute idiot. There's no ways around it. Those first forays you make into the transactions or trying to understand things, I mean, it's like anything else, but on steroids, because the space moves so fast. And so that's real. But when you stick with it over time, like anything else, you start to pick up the pieces. The pieces start to fit into a puzzle, and the puzzle just continues to get more and more revealed. But that's an ongoing process. I'm still learning it. I'm still finding pieces to the puzzle. So it's a great ride. And I wanted to express this to anyone who's looking to transition, who may be afraid. Even if you're not looking to transition, the whole point of this is I want you to open your eyes to crypto and the potential. So are there scams in it? Yes. But this is what I always say. So there's Ray Dalio. You've got Mark Cubans. You've got Paul Tudor Jones. You got Jim Miller, Stanley Druckenmiller. You got a whole bunch of billionaires who are starting to put 1% to 2%, if not more, of their net worth into crypto, right? Specifically Bitcoin for the most part. So I say this to anyone who's skeptical. What if they're right? If all of your arguments have legs to stand on, but they are right, then you didn't serve yourself any good just because your arguments sounded, concrete or were backed by anything. I don't buy that, because if you do your own research, you'll understand what I'm saying. But let's just put that to the side. What if you're wrong? What if they are right? It's your responsibility to allocate a portion, at least of your brain power, if not capital, to what is in this space. Why are so many people attracted to it? And what are the potential benefits and risks being in this space? So I wanted to share that with all of you. I don't know, some of you may be sitting on the fence, you in particular right now, that person right now who's kind of sitting on the fence and wondering, should I get in, should I not? I'm speaking right to you. You owe it to yourself to learn about this space. And the best way to learn, I always say, is action equals education. Play around with it, put some skin in the game, not a lot, just enough to kind of get you going. And that's the beauty of this space, is a little bit can get you so far. Whatever you can afford to play with, and if it went to zero, it wouldn't hurt you. That's what I advise. All right. And that's how your growth curve, your learning curve is just going to go through the roof. So I wanted to share that a little bit about where I started, where I am. And look, I'm at a point now, it's unreal. Like, I'm being asked to advise for early stage crypto projects. I've got, funds, crypto funds wanting to speak to me. Projects want me to invest in them. I've got an investment group where we look for the hottest crypto deals or projects out there, and we're trying to support them through capital, influence, introductions. Like, the journey over the last 6 months, I can't even tell you guys. And if I shared what I know now to who I was 6 months ago, no chance I'd believe it. I wouldn't believe a single word. So get in a group, get some people around you, even if it is online, who understand, or at least have the same mindset of learning and growing, and even just follow some of the OGs in the space. And that's the thing with social media today. While there are a lot of influencers who will just kind of promote certain projects just to promote them, if you look at people who've been in this space for quite some time, from 2012 or 11, or even if you can find 2010, but anyone who's been around for at least 1 or 2 cycles, they're usually a good person to follow, because they've been through not only just the ups, but also the downs. And they're going to help share some of that experience, the psychology that goes with it, and all of that. So the point of this is, this transition can be made. I'm living proof that it can be made. It does take time. It does take work, but the benefits are massive, and not just financial, right? Just if you're that person that loves learning, that loves growing, and just expanding your mind beyond being in a comfortable zone where you could literally do what you do with your eyes closed because you've been doing it for the last 10, 20 years, this is the space for you. And we're not even talking about, the next 5, 10 years of what crypto is going to become. And if you can be at the forefront of it, if you can be a leader, if you can be someone who's labeled as an expert, only because you've been in the space for so long, it's going to serve you well long term. And so I encourage all of you, whether you want to transition or you just want to do it part-time or as a side hobby or whatever it is, all I ever say is just ask yourself, what if they're right? And take that question and just play with aspects within the crypto space and see what comes of it. I tell you this, if you do your own research and you do it with an open mind and with conviction for a period of time, I'll say even if you did it for a week, right? You said, I'm going to do 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day or whatever you can, and you just take 1 week, you will see the value. And once you go down that rabbit hole, I don't see anybody coming back out of that. So do your own research, but do it today. Don't wait for tomorrow, some other day. So I just wanted to share my story. And, I would love to hear your story. If you have made the transition, comment below if you have, or you're looking to, or even why you wouldn't want to. Man, I would love to hear all those comments. So listen, if this provided you some value, just like the video, share the video. It would definitely help the YouTube algorithm. I just want this message to be shown to as many people as possible, because it is possible. And it doesn't have, you don't have to be in your 20s. You don't have to be 25, 22 years old to make that leap. Like I'm in my early 40s and I made that leap. So look, it is for everybody. And there are people older than me who are making, in their 50s, 60s and beyond who are making that leap. So this space is for everyone. Just sometimes all we ever see are the really young ones who are getting in and doing well. And I love to see it, but I also want people to understand that there's more of an age. There isn't an age for when to make that transition and how to prosper in it. So that's all for today, guys. Remember, tomorrow never comes. Take action, invest in yourself today, and I'll see you guys in the next video.